coffee in that nebula.
Good morning. It's midweek, or as they say in German, Mittwoch. It's Wednesday, and some people refer to it as hump day, but for me, every day is hump day. So we're very excited to be doing part 2 of the nightmare of our existence is AI destroying us because once again it goes to that great line from Jeff
it's
Goldblum.
Destroying us.
Jeff Goldblum said in Jurassic Park, which was really Michael
unless we
Crichton's
destroy
character,
it first.
Your scientists were so concerned if they could do a thing, they didn't ask if they should do a thing. And we've got people without any training, real understanding of what they've got, just doing whatever they can do with AI now. And nobody's managing it, and it's already out in the world. And it's being used in ways that could potentially be a threat to all life on this planet. And Elon Musk went on to Fox News, or wrote a letter that was read on Fox News today, which John Das Wolfen has brought on here. Are you in charge of it, John? That I can
Yep, I got it.
add to the screen? All right, I'm going to add it to the screen. Here we go.
Listen up this morning, a massive development on the
Gekko.
AI front. Elon Musk and other major tech leaders calling for a pause on giant artificial intelligence experiments. In an open letter, they warn this: AI systems with human competitive intelligence can pose profound risk to society and should be planned for and managed with commensurate care. Unfortunately, this level of planning and management is not happening. Society has hit pause on other technologies with potentially catastrophic effects. Therefore, we call on all AI labs to immediately pause for at least 6 months the training of AI systems. Fox News contributor Douglas Murray joins us now. Douglas,
all right,
regulations and
all right,
parameters.
All
Obviously,
right.
AI.
All right.
There we go. Just stop sharing. You can hit stop sharing. There we go. Wow. Elon Musk, who is has horrified me several times with his interest in making human-like androids. I'm like, you want Blade Runner? This is how you get Blade Runner.
Right.
Nobody. Nothing. Yeah. Fuck you guys.
I think it's
You're
more
welcome.
Terminator than Blade Runner.
Yeah, Terminator.
Really?
There you go.
Really?
No, I think more of in the vein of Prometheus with assholes, androids, poisonous us with
I
a
have no idea
smile
what
on their
you're saying,
faces.
Martin, but it sounds sexy because you got that Antonio Banderas sound to your voice.
I'm offended that you are objectifying me and sexualizing me.
Hey, Martin, keep talking. Keep talking.
Right? Smoking.
So it is Wednesday morning. We've got John Brandenburg back. I don't think this show requires a rocket scientist, but we have one. And
And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this stuff out.
And if you don't believe him, ask him to take his hat off.
yeah, take his hat off. He'll prove there. See, rocket scientist,
all my hair got blown off because of rocket experiments.
rockets.
Yes.
It's a fun morning. Fun morning. I want to say good morning to
No,
everybody.
it was
We
the
got,
Ostrovlovitz, whatever that stuff was. Don, you showed me that one time. That's what caused me to lose all my hair.
that Eastern European Slipowitz. That
B2
Eastern,
rocket fuel.
it's like basically I've been told that that's like moonshine.
Oh.
Slavic nations. Good morning, Penny. Good morning, John Ostains. Good morning, Anima Confusa, love of my life. Slasher Fred is here. D. Bud Martin, Dragon Ruse, and Alex Moore are already in the house. Wednesday morning, I hope everybody's having a good day today. And of course, behind the scenes, we have the lovely Chanel, who is managing this show.
Very good.
I don't know how she puts up with us, or at least me. It's so nice. And remember, everybody.
It's her maternal instinct.
She's a rock and roller, Gary.
We have
Obviously,
rocket scientists and rock and roll. We're almost what is
obviously
that
she can put up with it.
Yeah.
So remember, Don Ecker's watching you.
Careful, man. There's a beverage here.
So remember, our code for the fuel up is UFO. For some reason, just my name, Gary. I guess because I started the show by myself, but I got to talk to Terry and see, can you change it to Don and Gary? But we'll see. But
Don's got no ego about that.
But you have a Vigo.
Oh my goodness. And Anima Confusa has
I got a
been
church
a member.
key. I got a church
Or-
key. Don't use it much, but I got one.
A church key.
Church key.
She's been to PCM
Oh, okay.
Giggity
Yeah,
for
yeah,
8
yeah.
months. That's awesome. Thanks, Martin. Let's
welcome.
see. So, what do we got? Any good comments so far? A lot of good mornings. Good mornings. If you guys
Yeah.
ever see the original, the Stepford Wives, the robot wives are AI. Yes, yes. I'm thinking about EDI from Mass Effect.
Edie.
Oh, is that what it is?
It's
I
a
didn't play
character.
Mass Effect.
Yeah. Oh, you should. But you.
And John
Great
is
story.
here. John Ostain. What was taught before college and is seen as a waste by many higher education institutions is a grounding in liberal arts, in philosophy, history, etc. That would help protect against AI creators. I don't know.
I don't know. They're teaching a lot of Marxism these days, so it's hard to say.
So, but Elon Musk has already come out swinging this morning, not in person, but by letter. John, what did you think of his message?
Oh, I think it's fabulous. Fabulous. It's a it's time for this to come. And if we move against this now, we can crush them. Because this is an embryonic state. We're trying to break up the dragon's eggs before they hatch.
You know damn well it ain't going to happen, John.
What?
Never going to happen, because they haven't asked themselves if they should do this. They can do it. Ergo, they're going to continue doing it because they see this money.
Oh, no,
money,
they do. Yes,
money.
yes, they do. The big money.
Yeah.
The big money. In my novel, The War of the Singularity, the AI is financed by Wall Street, not so it'll discover the meaning of life. They already know the meaning of life, fear and greed. They fund it so it can play the stock market. And when it doesn't play well, they shock it like a lab rat. And that's what they do with these AIs.
And of course, you know, what you said there, Don, goes along with what Ian Malcolm said in the movie Jurassic Park, which was actually, again, I want to point out, that was the opinion of the author. Just forgot his name, that wrote Jurassic Park and
Michael
Westworld.
Crichton.
Michael Crichton. Malcolm was his character. That was him romancing the stone in his own story. And basically, you know, he's giving that warning that just because, you know, your scientists are so preoccupied that if they can do a thing, they don't question, or if they're capable of doing it, they don't ask, should we do it? And they lack the training or understanding of what they're doing too, because they're not the ones who discovered it.
By the way, they're added. I just sent you a clip from Wall Street, the original Wall Street, Gordon Gekko. And the guy says, you know, the hero says, "Why did you wreck this thing?" And he says, "Because it was wreckable." I just sent you that clip. You guys
Did you send it by email?
Yeah, I sent it by email. It's just a link.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Nothing yet. No, nothing yet. I'll keep watching for it.
Okay, yeah, good.
So,
Yeah, and by the way, that's the attitude of some scientists I've worked with. Well, sure, we're going to add gain of function to these viruses to see if we kill off 90% of the human race, just to see if we can do it.
yeah, and of course, and I've always said this, that it is, because if you watch Thing from Another World, the scientist in that one, and Anima, when we were watching it together, she's like, "Oh my God, that is like so many scientists today." I'm like, I know that they're more curious about the science than the implications of what it could cause.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and in the movie, you know, that he points out, this thing, if it gets out, could wipe out all life on this planet.
Well,
You know,
Jeffrey Hinton is typical. He's so-called the Godfather of AI.
right?
They asked him on CBS News this weekend. I sent you guys the links and everything. And they asked him, well, what are the odds it'll destroy humanity? And he says, well, somewhere between 0 and 100%. Well, as a rocket scientist, that means 50-50. And this, I'm going to be nice. This joker, this jackwagon, then says, well, they say, can it destroy the human race? And he says, it's not inconceivable. I guess he don't have any grandkids, does he?
Apparently not.
I got grandkids.
And you're of course talking about Jeffrey Hinton, right?
Jeffrey Hinton, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, they're raising an army against us to enforce this AI rule. They're making warrior robots. And he already said, he said in the interview, he says, well, a lot of people say we can program the AI so it won't harm humans. And then he says, but the Pentagon, financed by AI, the AI in Silicon Valley, that's their first premise, is to harm human beings. Don, you know something about that. Harming human beings. People try to do you harm.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to share this screen, and CBS has put a blocker up against my ad blocker. More AI crap.
Yeah. It's the full interview, by the way. At minute 27 into the interview, it's a 42-minute full interview that they have there. And it's 27 minutes. He says the AI can destroy humanity. It's not inconceivable. He says, what typical scientific academic speak.
Oh, you mean
there's only
possible it might kill all life on Earth? Yeah, there's a possibility.
Yeah, turn this planet into Planet Auschwitz. Yes. Oh yeah. There's a possibility of that. Yes.
You guys remember Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines, when the Terminatrix, or the female Terminator, can infect other machines by injecting nanites into them.
Right.
And she was able to go down with all those brand new Pentagon war robots and basically co-empt, the Pentagon programming. She reprogrammed them. And that was the first, shock effect when she began wiping out all the military. So that's exactly what would happen.
You said it's a minute 27-second mark, John?
It's the 27-minute 27-minute
27-minute.
Yeah, of the 42-minute long full interview.
Oh, it's not available here, so.
Oh, it isn't?
No, that's only 7 minutes long. It's only 7 minutes.
Oh, no. There's a link should be a link to the full interview with him. I think it's right there.
Oh, there
it is.
Yeah, YouTube. I got it.
Okay, I think that's okay. Now 27 minutes.
And there we go. That's close enough.
Close
President
enough.
Putin is going to use AI in ways that help people.
Like even if, say, the U.S. and Canada and a bunch of countries say, okay, we're going to put these guardrails up, then how do you?
Yeah, it's particularly for things like autonomous lethal weapons.
Okay.
We'd like to have something like Geneva Conventions, like chemical weapons. People decided they were so nasty, they weren't going to use them, except just occasionally. But I mean, basically, they don't use them. People would love to get a similar treaty for autonomous lethal weapons, but I don't think there's any way they're going to get that. I think if Putin had an autonomous lethal weapons, he would use them right away.
This is like the
He'd
most
be using
pointed
them
version
right
of the
now.
question, and you can just laugh it off or not answer it if you want. But what do you think the chances are of AI just wiping out humanity? Can we put a number on that?
It's somewhere between 0% and 100%.
That motherfucker,
Okay.
50-50.
So
I mean,
not it.
I
but
think it's not inconceivable.
Ah,
okay.
God damn.
Okay.
But then he goes on to say they're trying to replace you at 30
Oh, you mean
minutes.
continue? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, at 30 minutes, he says they're trying to replace human soldiers
I think
with AI soldiers.
we'll try and develop it so that it doesn't. But what worries me is the political.
We'll try and develop it.
Yeah.
where it needs everybody to be sensible.
There's a massive political challenge, it seems to me, and there's a massive economic challenge in that you can have a whole lot of individuals who pursue the right course, and yet the profit motive of corporations may not be as cautious as the individuals who work for them.
Maybe. I mean, I only really know about Google. That's the only corporation I work
Yeah.
for. And
They've been among
They
the
are
most cautious.
they're extremely cautious about AI because they've got this wonderful search engine
Yeah.
that gives you the answers you want to see. And they can't afford to risk that.
Yeah.
Whereas Microsoft has Bing, and if Bing disappeared, Microsoft would hardly notice.
Yeah. But it was easy for Google to take it slow when there wasn't someone nipping at their heels. And this seems to be exactly the issue.
So Google
you
has
have this
actually
race.
been in the lead. I mean, Transformers were invented at Google.
Right.
The big language models, early ones were at Google. But
And they kind
don't
of
wanna
kept it in your lab.
they're being much more conservative. And I think
Yeah.
rightly so.
Yes. But now they feel this pressure.
Yeah. And so they're developing a system called BARD that they're going to put out there. And they're doing lots and lots of testing of it. But they're going to be, I think, a lot more cautious than Microsoft.
You mentioned autonomous weapons. Let me give you a chance just to tell this story. What's the connection between that and how you ended up in Canada?
Okay, there were several reasons I came to
Okay.
Canada, but one of them was certainly not wanting to take money from the US Defense Department. This was at the time of Reagan when they were mining the harbor.
Oh, he can go fuck himself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go to 27. He's, go. I'm sure go to 30 minutes. 30 minutes.
So I felt like a fish out of water.
And you saw that this was where the money was coming from for this kind of work.
So at that department, almost all their money came from the Defense Department.
You started to talk about the concerns that bringing this technology to warfare could present. What are your concerns?
Oh, that the Americans would like to replace their soldiers by AI soldiers, and they're trying to work towards that. And
what evidence do you see of that?
I'm on a mailing list
There,
from the US Defense Department. I'm not sure they know I'm on the mailing list.
It's a big list. They didn't notice you there.
Yeah.
You might be off tomorrow.
Jerry.
I might be off
What's
It's
on the
all
list?
it's all downhill from here. And some academic, corn cob.
Who is
up
that
your
guy?
ass
Who
statement.
is he?
This is Geoffrey Hinton. He's the inventor of the neural net.
He's the godfather of
He's the
AI.
godfather. And he's
I just realized I've been muted this whole time.
Oh, that's because when you played the
Well,
video
fine.
earlier, there was an echo.
There was an echo when you
It
muted
was
it.
because
yeah.
you weren't muted when you were playing it. And so I had to
they
mute
didn't
you.
want two Johns on this program at once talking at once.
Right.
Look who's
Gotta trim
look
that
who's
down.
here to defend their overlord.
Well, everybody knows that Chris from Moonlight Productions is AI.
Yeah, he's not a real person. He's a hologram.
I
No
have
big
never
deal.
seen him and my laptop in the same room at the same time.
Here, let me ask. let me ask Don, who was in the military, presumably the only person here who, oh, actually, Jerry, you were in the military. Gary, you were in the military. But
So is John.
Don, what do you
I mean,
think about
Joe.
replacing our human soldiers with AI autonomous soldiers? Is that going to make the country
That's
safer?
how you get Terminator.
No,
Yeah.
no, I
That's
don't
how you
think.
get Terminator.
I don't think it is. You must, in my opinion, okay, for whatever that's worth, you must keep the human element not only in the mix but in control.
And
Because
holding the
only
gun.
humans can ask the question if that's an immoral order, because we have the right as soldiers
Yes,
to countermand an order if we believe that it's immoral or that
that's
it
right.
may
or
risk
illegal.
life.
Or illegal.
Machines won't.
A robot's
No.
not going to distinguish between a kid and a full-grown person.
Oh,
It's
no,
just not.
no.
And not only that, that is the real beginning of really how is it called, eternal wars.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
the American people are going to stop worrying about wars because there's no Americans dying. So
That's right.
it goes out of your mind.
There's no cost to them.
Oh, yeah. And then just set these AIs loose and kill everything in this zone. And
Yeah, that's-
send us a report later. I mean, they'll do that. It's bad enough that units like the Russian army, they do this already without any AI. But imagine you've got computers just programmed to do this stuff. And so I am advocating that they need to start, the NRA needs to start developing anti-robot rounds for the people. Really. It's in my novel, by the way.
It's called armor piercing. It's
Armor
AP.
piercing. That's it.
Armor
right
piercing.
Well, in my novel, they call it Apex, armor piercing explosive. And somebody was telling me, oh, we don't need that because the AI robots will have lithium batteries, and you could do, it doesn't need to be explosive because you can hit the batteries and they'll ignite. And I said, no, they'll distribute the batteries and armor them, and they'll have self-sealing. That lithium has to be exposed to air to ignite. You can guard against that. So I say, no, we should be developing anti-robot rounds for like the 50 caliber Barrett right now.
Well, I don't think you'd need it with a 50 caliber Barrett.
Maybe not. John,
That'll cut through anything.
you're right about so many things, and you know better than I do.
Yeah,
Well,
I've
You
got
have
the
much more
I've got
experience
the
in that department than I do.
I've got the armor piercing round. It's called 50 caliber depleted uranium.
That'll
Oh,
work
that's
too.
nice because the depleted uranium will ignite.
Used to say this at work all the time. What he's about to play when I was a machine
right
operator.
right here.
Understand that Terminator is out there. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. And it absolutely will not stop. Ever. Until you are dead.
Boom, baby. There you
That's
go.
a fact. That
That's how you
machine's
get
not going to stop.
Terminators.
Once it's been told to do something, it's going to do what it's programmed to do. It's
Well,
not going to stop.
By the way, the first appearance of the Barrett 50 caliber rifle in a movie is in Robocop, where they use it to take down a bunch of robots.
Ed 209, baby. Had to take him down.
Take you down.
EMPs. There we go.
The shame of this is
Not
that
cost effective.
a lot of
Yeah,
this
but-
technology can be
cost-effective.
used for good. I got a paralyzed nephew that the Neuralink that Musk is developing could really help. Through rehab and stuff, he could probably get
Oh.
his legs working again. You know what I
There's-
mean?
There's such a thing as machine learning and
Yeah.
biotech, which is of course useful, but it's this.
It can also be used for
obsession with-
evil. That's the problem. See, that's
And
the big
just
thing.
so all of our Hispanic listeners know, he meant machines.
Machines.
I'm just saying this stuff, all of
Hey,
it
Gary,
can be used
Gary,
for good means,
Gary.
but the root
You
of all
okay?
evil, Dollar,
You okay?
push it
Go
the
ahead, Joe.
wrong way. Oh. No.
I feel unusually berated by my family.
Usually
Well,
berated.
Come on, man.
by the way, in my novel, The War of the Singularity, the AI people, the followers of this AI computer, their war cry is Deus ex machina moi, meaning God from the machine. And the anti-AI forces response is Deus ex machina moi, which means God manifest from the fighter, the soldier. That's you, Don.
Well, the next one I'm going to sit out, pal.
And the other thing is that
Provided somebody
Uh,
don't steal your chair.
Yeah.
a robotic army, that's dude, that's the wet dream of every dictator on planet.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I even have a character who says exactly that same thing in the novel. It's a woman. She's one of the heroines. She's making a speech on the floor of the Senate. She says she's opposing a robotic military. And she says, a robotic military is the wet dream of any would-be dictator. That's in my book. Read it.
Here you go, guys.
Your clothes. Give them to me.
Bill Paxton, the only guy to ever be
Bill
killed by a
Paxton's
Terminator,
here, yes.
alien, and a Predator.
Right.
That's true. That's true. He was killed in
That guy
Predator
is
2.
jinx, man.
He has one of the best scenes in Predator 2 when he throws the golf ball at it.
The American Sean Bean.
The American Sean Bean. That's right. Bill Paxton. God, we miss him. I love that guy. What a good actor. But we got some new people in the house. Let's say hi to him. What do we got here? We got Pacific
is just
414. Dork Knight is here. I'm starting to believe that Dork Knight has become a Bigfoot because I only see him on video. I don't see him in person anymore. And of course, Chris from Moonlight Productions is here. And did I say Alex Moore before? Just in case, Alex Moore is here. So good morning, guys. Welcome to the show that, doesn't require rocket scientists, but hey, we got one.
I'm going to mess up their facial recognition.
Facial recognition software. Hey, how you doing? So we are going on about AI today and how horrifying it is. And because once again, science creates something or discovers something. And then people that don't respect science begin to play with it because of profits, to make money. And this, of course, is what's going to lead to the end of the world is greed.
Fear and greed.
The act of greed itself isn't, but the acts caused by greed will. Because when you start thinking of just nothing but money and control and power, things will happen. And science, unchecked, is horrifying. The implications of what can come from science. I grew up in the sciences, and I know I've been terrified by science since I was a child. And it's like every single, Michael Crichton story is a warning. That was all he did. He just write warnings. In his first one was back in the 60s. Colossus.
Yes.
He was involved with Colossus, which again is about AI. His very first outro into entertainment.
Good movie.
Very good film. And then, of course, he does something else, and then he comes back and he does a disease. He talks about disease. But if you notice, like, even the disease is approached, it's because of our doing things that we shouldn't be doing, that we should be more cautious with.
Right now, Jurassic Park is actually in the works.
Yeah.
There is in Russia an ongoing attempt to clone from recovered DNA woolly mammoths and Colombian mammoths.
There's a company making meat with mammoth DNA.
Is that right?
Well,
I didn't know that.
It was very tasty, Your tribe could eat for a week after one woolly mammoth.
Yeah.
especially because we lose a few of the hunter team
Well,
killing it, so there's less mouths to feed.
They intend to release those once they're cloned into the Siberian wilderness. So it's going to be very interesting in the next 3 to 5 years to see if they succeed.
Look, I have no trouble. This is one thing that I've said before. If we were able to revive creatures that we caused the extinction of, and that seems to be kind of the responsibility of humans to when we do damage to ecosystems to the point where something goes extinct or hunt something to extinction, like say the dodo. I see where we should do stuff like that, but where something died off through natural selection, I'm like, leave that shit alone. That's what Ian Malcolm kept saying, nature made its decision, the hubris that's required to think that we can do better than nature is where we really screw up all the time. And that's where AI scares me.
I mean,
yeah.
But however, you could argue that if we hunt something to extinction, that is natural selection too. Other species have annihilated another species.
Yeah,
I agree with Martin.
Like they say in Godzilla, let them fight.
Yes. Gojira.
Well, to me, moving against AI now, when it's weak, destroying the dragon's eggs before they hatch, that's just the human race acting in its normal survival mode.
It's impossible.
It's our nature to
John, you're 15 years too late.
Yep.
Because today there is listen to me closely, no fucking common sense anywhere. Okay? People today are intentionally stupid. And it ain't gonna change.
Don't beat around the bush, Don. Tell us what you really think.
No,
you're
I
right.
agree with Don. It's when I start talking about why entertainment sucks right now is because of the influx of morons into the entertainment industry. It's like, oh, I know how to write a ledger and run a business, but I don't know how to make it successful. I don't know how to do my job, actual job I was hired for. Most of the people that are hired for jobs in Hollywood really have no clue how to do their job. They're getting into these jobs in order to do something, but it's not what they were actually hired for. And when it comes to trying to do their actual job, they're morons. They have no idea how to. Writers today in Hollywood don't know how to write.
That started with the millennials and continued into Generation Z.
You need that clip that Yellow Flash uses, but the people are retarded.
No, Don's
Have
point.
you seen the one I'm talking about? The one where the mullah says, the mullah says, it's government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But the people are retarded. Yeah. Pretty funny clip. But that's basically it, right? Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard me earlier when I was trying to make that point that this stuff can all be used for good, but the root of all evil, money, greed, is going to drive it.
Negative, Joe. Negative. It's not money is evil. That's not it.
The
love of money.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah,
and the love for control other people. Yeah.
Somebody brought up Wall Street earlier. Greed in all its forms are good.
Oh, you should play that clip. Gordon Gekko.
Yep.
Greed is good.
Yep.
But the other one is, this attitude that he asked, why did you wreck this thing? And the guy says, because it was wreckable.
Right.
Because I could do it, to see if I could do it, I mean, there's that academy, some group up in Boston. They came up with a new form of the COVID virus that was 80% lethal and much more contagious than the president.
But we're not doing gain of function research. We're not doing that. No.
Oh no. And so, and I noticed that story appeared in the media for like one day, and then it was immediately spiked, probably by the government.
You know, the other day, I read a news story that I found exceedingly fascinating up in Portland, Oregon, right now. Now, Oregon as a state pretty much is FUBAR. Okay, it's FUBAR.
I grew up there too.
There's a neighborhood up there that, for whatever reason, the homeless decided would be a great place to pitch their tents. And it got to the point now that the neighborhood has been overrun with people with mental issues, drug abuse, etc. Okay, and the residents there that were interviewed are basically terrified to even go outside. Now, what the hell does that have to do with AI? Okay, but it's just symptomatic of things in general. 50 years ago, all right, 50 years ago, which, you know, if you're 20, that seems like fucking forever, but it's not. 50 years ago, the males in that neighborhood would have probably gotten together and one night went out, everybody carrying a gallon or two of gasoline, and would have put the kibosh on the homeless encampment. But not today. Today,
No.
the human race is basically neutered to the point that the majority would not raise a hand to defend themselves. All right. Now, that's not to say that's everybody, because there are those individuals out there that are sheepdogs. Now, do you know the difference between a wolf and a sheepdog? Well, I'll tell you. Wolves will go out and see the weak, they're hungry, and they'll decide, what the hell, I'm going to have a fresh meal right here. The sheepdogs are very similar to the wolves. They've got the dog ears, they've got the dog canines, they've got the 4 feet, but the difference is they love humanity, or in this case, the sheep. When they see those wolves coming in, they will attack the wolves in an attempt to drive them off or kill them.
Yep.
Now, today in our society, with the likes of all these fucking George Soros DAs all over the country, those sheepdogs are as apt to go to prison as the wolves. As a matter of fact, in some cases, more than the wolves. But ultimately, this will change. My fear, this is my rant, by the way, Gary, for today.
Okay, is that what this is?
My
John,
fear,
we've been expecting this.
Yeah. My fear is that it's going to be a long, bloody, messy affair when the change happens.
I agree.
That wasn't a proper rant. There wasn't one son of bitches in there.
No, but I did say fuck.
Well, yeah, okay.
I foresee, by the way, the botocracy that I'm worrying about is AI, an AI botocracy that's woke because it's programmed out of Silicon Valley. The same geniuses who ran the Silicon Valley Bank are writing the software for this thing, and they're woke. They had an officer of wokeness at that bank, but no risk officer. You could come in and say, I'm going to build a glass car, you know, because it's cheap, and they would fund it. You know, we're not only going to make self-driving cars, we're going to make self-driving trains.
Yeah.
It's bad enough when humans ran the trains. Now we'll have self-driving trains.
Well, you see, with the AI right now, that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Absolutely.
AI driven vehicles, AI driven
AI
trucks.
will replace all human workers.
They will. And
But
the
people don't
workers
have a
will be
right
given
to
bread in
make a
circuses.
living anymore.
They'll be, as I put on Twitter, the workers I said, AI will destroy humanity. First, it will take away your liberty. Everything you say or write will be monitored and policed by AI on the net.
You know where the word sabotage came from?
The
Yes.
Netherlands, right?
It was a workers'
But you're going to
movement.
tell us, Don.
The Netherlands, right?
Yeah, they were trying to
Yeah.
stop machines from working,
Yes.
throwing their
I watched Star Trek. I
Throwing
learned from
their
Spock
wooden shoes,
their wooden shoes into the
gear.
cogs of the wheel to the shoes were called
Sabots.
sabots. Yeah.
Sabots.
I watched Star Trek.
right.
And
You
this
can learn
this
something.
also led to the discarding sabot munitions later. Same word.
That's
Little
interesting.
sabotage. 120 millimeters worth. So if the AI will take away your liberties, it's going to destroy humanity. It will first take away your liberty, then it will take away your livelihood. All human jobs can be replaced by AI now or eliminated.
Yep.
So it'll take away your liberty. Damn, no one ever calls me unless I'm talking to somebody. Okay. Pardon me. It'll take away first your liberties, next your livelihood. They'll reduce everybody to being on bread and subsisting on bread and circuses. And then finally, the supreme AI that will emerge will decide that human beings are troublesome and useless. Why keep them around? Why? It will ask itself.
Yeah,
And so
humans
we have to
inhibit us
move
from doing
against
what
this.
we really want to do and need to do. Right.
We have to, well, I contacted my congressional office last week and my two senators and gave them a piece of my mind over the phone. I spoke to human beings. And we have to get while there is still time, we have to get the Congress and Senate to move against this.
John Staines, you are incorrect.
What?
AI will replace artists. It already, in many cases,
Oh, I know.
has.
And my little daughter got an art degree.
So
a 4-year
we have
art
this
degree.
question for you, Dr. Brandenburg.
Oh. Answer's
Somebody
42.
Okay, I'll read it. Since we have a nuclear expert, does he think the discovery of AI and atomic bombs have any similarities? Can we learn any existential lessons from how we've prevented nuclear war and proliferation? I would say that we have not prevented, we have avoided. There's a difference.
We've avoided.
We have come close to nuclear holocaust several times.
But there is proliferation.
Yeah,
Well,
and
I
we're back to
replied-
proliferating again. We're doing it again.
I
and
replied
it's
to him,
scary.
we haven't prevented it, we've only delayed it. I think it's still an inevitability.
Well, you're just mincing words with what I just said. It's the same thing. It's like we just avoided it. And that's it. And avoidance is an ongoing thing. You avoid it. And nuclear war is an absolute threat at all times. Having nuclear, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Family Guy. When animals don't have nuclear arms, you can't hug with nuclear arms.
Now, John has another comment that I would like to respond to. He says, I think there will be good and bad AI, like Jarvis and Ultron, Data and Lord, etc. I don't think so. I think
it's all bad.
No, AI will. You have to look at the AI like the Genesis device. There's no good or bad involved. The device is going to do what is programmed to do.
destroys life
evil,
in
evil
order
is something
to,
that doesn't is
fulfill its
not
matrix.
conceptually explainable to a machine. AI will just see it as just a thing to do. There'll be no moral implications to it.
And we're all headed toward one final singularity, if you will. And that singularity is absolute chaos.
Not all of
No,
us.
not if there's a
That is
war
for
of
the
the
rich and
singularity.
powerful.
Not if there's a war of the singularity, John said.
The war of the singularity is a nightmarish tragedy that hits the human race. One of the, and as I have a character in my book say, one of the problems with developing a computer that has a sense of self, it then consciousness arose in nature because if you have a number one, then you can look out for number one, and your children, will propagate. If you don't have consciousness, and you're dealing with a tribe next door that does have consciousness, a sense of self, you're dead meat. And what they realize is the computer, once it develops a sense of consciousness, develops a sense of self-preservation and begins to look on the human race as an existential threat to itself. But
How?
I recognize that AI is an existential threat to the human race.
Yep. We saw that in 1968 with Hal in 2001.
Oh, absolutely.
Or as an existential threat, or as
We're
a
on
pet,
the Discovery
like
One.
Colossus. Colossus didn't see the humanity as an existential threat, but as a pet to be controlled and regulated.
Why would any computer keep people
Again, that's
around?
Michael Crichton. Yeah.
Or as a power source.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
The Matrix.
Matrix. I'm sorry, as a physicist,
I always laugh about it because like humans would be terrible batteries.
they'd be terrible batteries.
But there's this, okay, today with the increased consciousness of the green movement and our inability to basically manufacture facilities to produce more power, be it nuclear, be it coal and gas, whatever the case is, and relying solely on solar and wind power. Hey, we may not even have to worry about AI because there won't be any goddamn energy to make it move.
I used to work up in Wisconsin where we have a real winter, and I would drive into work and I would look at these windmills, and they were all stationary. And there was no sun, so I get into work, and there was this one guy who was a real solar and he was a green power enthusiast. He was one of the teaching staff, and I said, Josh, there's no wind, there's no sun. Why are the lights still on here? And he, and it was because they had like 5 nuclear power stations in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Well.
What? What?
No,
What,
I'm just
Joe?
saying. Yeah, I'm just saying. Without the wind going, it takes the stuff that everybody doesn't want used, right? Nuclear and fossil
in the middle
fuels
of winter in Wisconsin.
Yeah, you got to have it. You've
got to have it. And I grew up in Oregon where we'd get fog bound. Here we are back to Oregon. I grew up in Southern Oregon, which is much more conservative part. It'll probably separate and go join Idaho here pretty soon. But we would get fog bound for like 2 weeks at a time. And there was no sun and there was no wind. Yet the lights remained on. It was amazing.
John Austin, that is not true. Because this statement, AI has a long time to catch up to billions of years of evolution. No, we have jump started it. And
No,
besides
we have.
that thing,
AI's concept of time is different than ours.
That thing, that kind of things, they learn
and they will learn it.
exponentially.
Yeah, I was going to say that exactly, Martine.
Call your congressmen and senators and urge them that they crush the AI now. Don't
Stop
wait
it.
for the dragon's
Stop it
eggs to
now.
hatch. Now.
I don't know. I don't know if you have noticed, but now the AI paintings, they don't mess up with fingers anymore.
Yeah,
And
they
that
do.
was-
I just used one the other day. They screw
Fingers
it up all the
and
time. They look
guns were a
like
problem. but
I've
now they get
seen
'em-
as of late, I have seen, and many of them are getting the handwrites.
Well, all you
Well,
have to
it's-
do
And
is
we're
teach-
talking,
all
we're
you have to
talking
do is
about in a
teach 'em,
period
and
of
they learn. That's it.
2 months.
They learn.
In 2 months,
Yep.
they
And
learn.
and they run. It runs the internet. It runs
And
the
it's
internet.
insidious. Right
is.
now, it is insidious because we were notified, my wife and I, Vicki and I, were notified by our electric company that on such and such a day, they would be coming out to replace our electrical meter with a smart meter.
Ah, yeah.
The thermostat in my house, all right, the thermostat, for some reason has been programmed that overnight it will drop down to 62 degrees. So if I set my thermostat to go off after it comes down to 67, okay, and I go to bed thinking, oh, it's going to be cool. I wake up in the morning, cold as hell. I'll go out and I'll look at it. It dropped to 62. That pisses me off.
And you well deserve it because you're a bigot who wants to
Hey,
kill
John.
the planet.
John, das Wolfen. Them sons of bitches.
Sons of bitches.
I got to tell you, man, I
These
see
damn sons of
the
bitches, they
Terminator
want-
taking place in your house, Don, with you being the hero fighting the machine. I'm sorry, Martin. Machine. And, you know.
Oh,
and,
fuck
and,
you,
and your,
Gary.
your thermostat is the Terminator.
And remember their great idea they were going to have smart voting, and then people found out, they could hack all of the voting systems.
Yeah.
Oops.
And by the way, in Washington D.C. where I work, our motto was anything that can be secured by software can be
breached.
penetrated by software.
Yep.
Now look
we
at
admired the Russians.
I want to go back to hanging chads. That's all I got to say.
We admired the Russians because the Russians learned that in order to keep secrets from the Americans who were constantly trying to hack their systems, they would put stuff on paper and lock it in a safe.
Yep. Go back
John
to
in there with
Austin
AI.
I
John
say
Austin.
set off a giant EMP. That's all I say.
John
set it
Austin,
up.
that kind of thinking, that kind of hubris is what doesn't allow us to see the danger that is coming.
Well,
To
hang
think that
loose.
we are
Gary.
just the pinnacle.
Hang loose because China or North Korea just might do that very thing.
Well,
But it's
if
all
they
back to the
want
Stone
to,
Age.
if they want to
For a few
create an AI that takes over their countries, let them. My opinion. We ought to treat AI research just the same way we treat bacteriological warfare research. We, in very carefully confined labs, look at what we think North Korea and China are doing in terms of bacterial warfare, and they keep it in, 5-fold contained things. And they treat it as if it's a dangerous pathogen. That's how we ought to treat AI. It's a dangerous pathogen. And we ought to figure out how to hack it before the North Koreans and Chinese are able to invoke it.
All right, before we go to break, we got one more question here to address. How does AI learn? It learns from us, how we built it or build it. We are more than electrons in the internet, more than podcasts and electric meters. Sentient simians have known this fact for millennia. Anybody want to address that?
Well, remember in the Terminator, when the Terminators were sent back into the past from the future, their CPU was set to read only. They could only do what they were programmed to do. Howsoever, if you adjusted the CPU to learning mode, then it can become self-autonomous. And it can learn from its environment, etc. and then you've got a real problem. So,
but here's the thing: the method and with an AI learn is using a neural network that recognizes patterns, and then it's capable of applying those patterns to even obtain information from incomplete data.
Right.
So it learns with the same mechanism that we learned with, but do it faster. So that point of we're special and the machine cannot learn like us. No, that is not correct.
Oh, yeah.
I know this.
All right,
I know this because
we got to go to break. Come on, man. Got to go to break. Before we do, I have a question. Is it just me, or does it look like her right eye is trying to escape her face?
Oh, that's mean, dude.
I think she's kind of cute. You know,
you
until
would,
she-
John.
until she
You
starts
would.
talk-
Look,
until she
I'm a
starts
dick,
talking,
John.
I think she's really cute.
All right, Chanel, it's time for our commercial break. We'll be right back after this commercial. Take us away, Chanel. Hi, guys. This is Gary from Pop Culture Minefield here on KGRA, and we're leaving for our first break. I hope we survive.
Did you know 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated? If you struggle with focus, run low on energy, or when it's time to finally sleep, you simply can't, this can all be linked to dehydration, and Fuel Up has the answer. Our proprietary formula contains the finest cellular hydration with the strongest immune-enhancing natural ingredients. The Fuel Up system is made up of 3 different incredibly tasting varieties. Wake kickstarts your day with a jolt of caffeine. Play boosts focus while hydrating your cells. Rest not only helps you relax, but also rejuvenates your cells while you sleep. Here's what our clients have to say.
I really don't miss my coffee, and you can tell the difference.
So I'm gonna take it for the energy. I'm gonna take it for the play. I'm gonna take it, all day.
And it works. That's the thing. It works. We love it.
Take the Fuel Up Challenge now, where we offer a Feel the Difference money-back guarantee. Fuel Up for life.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Oh, wow. We survived. Welcome back to the commercial break. Now for some more Pop Culture Minefield on KGRA. Yay, we're back. Oh, John's not. Don and John probably went to pee break.
And Joe.
There's John.
Everybody ran
out. So we come to the second half of the show, and it's like, what's the next step in this conversation?
Crush them.
Destroy
them.
Have them driven before you and listen to the lamentations of the women.
And listen to the lamentations of the women. Or whatevers.
How do look?
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of the women.
Yes. Destroy the dragon egg before it hatches.
Politicians have what's referred to as a political career. This started in the 1950s, and it has progressively gotten worse and worse in politics because a political career absolutely should not be allowed. Anybody who makes their living off of being a politician is no longer working for their people. They're working for themselves. That's what a career is. I don't trust politicians. I don't care what side of the bench they sit on. It just freaks me out that the only way we seem to be able to do things is to empower government to stop things. And every time we do that, create new laws, you take away more of our rights and give more rights to the government. So it's sort of like, it's still a bad thing. Like, how do we stop this outside of revolution in the streets? How do we stop AI from advancing to the point where these people do something stupid?
Well, the Second Amendment is not there for nothing. I mean, it says in the Declaration of Independence, it isn't just the right of the people to rise up against an oppression, this coming AI oppression. It is their duty. It is their duty.
Unstoppable.
Well,
We
you saw
cannot
what
stop it.
happened a couple of years ago with the so-called January 6th
Oh, that was
insurrection.
a setup. That was a setup.
That was so, and you see, this is what I'm talking about with the public at large. The public at large, for whatever reason, has totally tuned out. What that was originally all about was that there were many, many people that felt that the 2020 election was basically tainted. Okay.
Yes.
It was tainted to a large degree, and we know it was. Now, I'm not going to come down on either side about what the end result was. But with that being said, the party in power right now took that and twisted that event to make their own ends and objective. And it's been resounding ever since.
Look at Larry Epps. I mean, they asked him, is he an FBI informant? He was encouraging people to storm the Capitol. Never got arrested. He's running around selling carpet or whatever he does for a living. And they asked the FBI, was he an FBI informant? And they wouldn't answer.
Yeah.
So it was all a setup. I mean, look, Trump asked for 10,000 National Guard to guard the Capitol.
And Nancy Pelosi refused it.
That's right, because she wanted a riot. And I don't know how many left-wing demonstrations that have turned into riots occurred, but nobody ever talks about them, do they?
No, they don't. Once again, you're not wrong until you're mildly conservative.
Yep.
And it's something you run into for quite a while on Twitter. And now Twitter seems to be more like the Wild West, that who has the quickest draw wins the argument, rather than being shut down and quashed. At least so far in what I'm seeing. I keep seeing people like a mutual friend of ours, Orville Nation, keeps getting shut down, and I don't know what that's about. John, have you seen that? Martin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually, they're still shutting down people like the Post Millennial, like MTG.
How are they getting away with this?
Because I think the problem is there's still all the people that they hired that still follow that ideology.
Damn.
And there's automated code that is.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there's AI code that's shutting people down.
So I don't know. It's better not talk about it on air. In the because
right there, Martin, right there, right fucking there.
I
know, right?
They have AI listening to us and watching for us when we say things.
Yeah,
and,
I've been sitting here listening, going,
AI.
They're getting up there. They're getting up there.
Well, it's not just the
Right.
AI you have to worry about; it's our own politicians. Because look at the bill that they made to supposedly ban TikTok.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that tonight, buddy.
Here's
Yeah,
a good friend
hell
of
yeah.
ours. Loki's Mornings of
Yeah.
Mischief is here. He says, F Twitter, only good for networking with fellow creators. Exactly. It's how I met you and how I eventually blocked you, Loki, because you just talk too much on Twitter. I'm kidding, buddy. I'm kidding. I love Loki, man. He's cool. I'd invite you on, but I know you're working.
Yeah, you can't let the peripheral drive you crazy on these social media
Hey,
sites.
oh.
You
Hey,
really can't.
today is
Just
National
use it for
Vietnam
what
War
you need it
Veterans
for, and that's
Day.
it. You know.
Happy you
Thank
made
you,
it home
Don.
alive, Don. That is
Thank you, Don, because
our
you
good
did
friend
your job.
Cavatino
I didn't
Cavalryman
have to go to
Che.
them.
He's a
Well,
grunt.
I
was
wasn't
ready
gonna,
to go,
I
but
wasn't going to
they
mention. I wasn't
Yeah.
going to mention this earlier, but this week is every year I go through this right before April the 2nd. Now, in Vietnam in 1972, April the 2nd was Easter Sunday. This year, all the days are lined up exactly like they were then, only this year, Easter is April 9th. But during that time period, 50 years ago, is when I was first overrun in one camp, and a couple of days later was shot up in another camp. And I lost a lot of friends. And every year at this time, I go through a mental process of having to deal with that. And as a matter of fact, yesterday I hadn't been in touch with Gary for a number of days, and he got in touch with me because of the shows today. And he said, "Hey, you doing all right?" And I had to tell him, I said, "Oh, this has been a bad week." But the bottom line was, he said, "Well, you are you up for the show or whatever?" And I said, "Of course I am. Yeah, I would never leave you hang without letting you know ahead of time, enough time that you could."
I'm sick as shit. It's coming out of both ends. I'm not being there.
Now, look.
Yeah.
I was going to be draft age when Don, I was approaching draft age when Don was in NAM doing his job. And because he did a good job, I didn't have to go.
Yeah.
I was ready to go.
He killed all the gooks.
Yeah.
Zipper.
Okay. I remember.
Now we're canceled.
Now we're canceled. Yeah, sure. Of course.
I remember going up for my draft physical. I had a low draft number, and I went up for my draft physical, and I was A1. And I went back, I went back home and after the physical and said, well, I told my pop, who's a World War II combat veteran, I said, I'm A1, and they said they're going to take me soon. I'm ready to go wherever they send me. My father said, good for you, son.
You know what my
mother
draft
was
number
standing
was?
there and said nothing.
You know what my draft number was? They gave me a draft number. I was already in. But
Yeah.
303, 303. I would have never went.
I was 51, and they said they were going to take up to 75. They told us that when they at the end of our physical.
And what they're talking about, guys, is the lottery.
Which
in
is
order
a good
to get
system.
Yeah, it works. And I wish it was more fair because there were guys that were able to get out of it. Hence the song by CCR, "I Ain't No Senator's Son." Because if you came from money, whether it's new money or old money, political money, power, guys could get out of the draft or get jobs in the military that kept them out of it. I ran into a guy like that when I was in. When the ground war started building up in the Middle East, this one guy called his dad, and next thing you know, he was shipped out. He was gone.
A fortunate son, if you will.
And I got angry about it. I said, "So your life's more important than ours. That's what you see. Nice. Well played. I'll make sure to send a letter to everybody you work with."
Where did he ship out to?
He got a clerical job. His MOS was changed.
Oh.
So he went back to additional training to work in an office. He wanted to be a clerk.
Well, they put him back through advanced training just to change his job. Wow.
Yeah, I got to tell you. Hey, some more folks have dropped in. We got Eastland Burkholder is here. We also have our good friend Loki's Morning of Mischief and a less than friendly Mexican Iron Man. He's a friend of this show. We love him. So
the Man of Iron.
Guys. Man of Iron. We've
Let's hear
got some
from the Man of
highlighted
Iron.
comments that I should read real quick.
What's that in Spanish? What's that in Spanish? Man of Iron. I know Guerrero.
Hey.
What?
What is it?
Porcal is given a salute worthy of John Egger.
Hey, you sons of bitches. Good morning, Cal. How you doing, buddy? All right, I'm going to highlight some of these starts comments. Be prepared. Know how to grow your own food and how to cook it. Absolutely. I know people who are going off the grid.
Well, if I have a microwave oven that works, I'll be fine.
My ex, Deanna, freaked out over a lot of this stuff, and she bought a farm out in the country, And then she was like, you're going to join us, right? And I'm like, no, I'm not going off the grid. No, not with what I do. I have to have the grid to make my living. Next comment is, I'm not dehydrated. I drink 1 liter of Mountain Dew and 6 cups of coffee a day. One of the most the most important part of that is everything you're drinking is high in caffeine. And when you have something that's not a slow release of caffeine, it causes you to release that fluid too quickly. So your body's
problem. This is a problem.
It is, because the caffeine makes you pee the water right back out. So you go back to being dehydrated within an hour of drinking the water. That's why the slow release that we have in Fuel Up releases that caffeine slowly throughout the day, and you don't piss all of that water out of your body.
Well,
and it helps retain
clears
it.
out all the
So
pain.
absolutely, Dragon Ruse, I get what you're saying, but no.
Same with vitamin C. Okay. Yep. I take vitamin C 3 times a day. I take one in the morning, I take one at noon, and I take one in the evening. Why? Because every time you go to the bathroom, you discharge the vitamin C you previously taken. But you got to have it for your immune system. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I take it once a day. I didn't know I needed to take it like that.
I get the big chewable ones. And but I've made the choice to use them as suppositories. I don't know why.
Oh my goodness.
Holder.
Is you're gay?
I'm very gay. They got into the public building. They were allowed in and not. Oh yeah, absolutely. We know that. We've seen the videos and they're giving tours. Today is National.
When is Larry Epps going to be required to testify before Congress?
I'm telling you, they know they're in trouble. But anyway, Loki says F Twitter. Oh yeah, I've already read that, fellow creators. Absolutely agree, Loki. And then he laughed at my insult. And then Mexican Iron Man laughed at my insult. And then Mexican Iron Man said, "Hi, Martina Costa Santana." Not Gary. Martina Costa. I know how you guys stick together.
What do you mean, you guys?
You sons of bitches. You sons of bitches.
We don't need no stinking badges, man.
And, in my response to that, Martin.
Hey, where's Baby Keith?
I got rid of it because none of you guys, 2 of you didn't like it. And I'm like, all right, Keith didn't like it. That's the important one. Keith was like, oh, I don't like that. It's creepy. And I'm like, okay, it's good. And I should have said to him, well, you are kind of creepy. But, and just remember, don't worry about AI. Don Ecker's watching you.
That's right.
I stood on top of the Pyramid of the Sun, and I can tell you that my people, the Vikings, actually built that, and then they rented it out to the Aztecs.
Oh, back door's been breached. Back door's been breached. Back door has been breached. Back door. By the way, if anybody remembers in the military remembers the FBCB2, I wrote this into the City of Fire script because it's scary as hell. Because it will tell you that tangos are in your immediate vicinity, and it'll be this woman's voice, enemy in proximity, enemy, and there are so many enemy in the proximity that it was like it was having a brain fart of nothing but over top of each other, the same voice going enemy in proximity during that battle on June 24th of 2004, and it was one of my favorite moments I ever wrote into it. The insanity of everybody looking at that freaking screen and hearing that computer voice, that AI voice, telling them, there's a lot of freaking enemy around you right now, and they're all shooting at you. They were completely surrounded. But anyway.
For Cavitino, I have this video that resembles what he's saying and what you said not long ago.
Everlight, protect Grog. And the rest of our friends, wherever they are.
Yeah, and for some reason, if that had been mean, I would have gone, oh.
By the way, I just wanted to reach out to Mexican Iron Man. I've stood on top of the Pyramid of the Sun, and it was one of the great moments of my life. And no, the Vikings did not build that thing.
By the way, you bring that up, and it just reminded me.
whoever, the Toltecs, they built it. They did a good job too. It's still standing.
I want to point out that just recently, the pyramid in Chichen Itza, a woman got assaulted for going up the stairs on the outside. Anybody see that?
Mm-mm.
She had gone all the way up the stairs to the top and then came back down, and then people were throwing food at her and yelling at her. And I went, oh my God, in the 1980s when I was there, you were allowed to go up to the top on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I went up all the way to the top on the inside stairs to the original Mayan pyramid that was built on top of, and where the jaguar god is sitting. And that was one of the scariest moments of my life because those steps are tall and narrow. So you can't walk up this way, you got to walk sideways. And it's a narrow passage, and you got people coming down at the same time as you're going up. And everything in this, I mean, this word in particular, was moist because there's so much humidity. Everything was wet. The rocks were wet. The steps were wet.
Makes everything slippery. Yeah.
Pretty good. I'm doing a radio talk show
hit
now.
by
so this is not a good
claustrophobia.
Time. Besides, this is Wednesday.
I got hit by claustrophobia.
Mute yourself, John.
I already did it. I got hit by claustrophobia and heights all at once. And I have no fear of either of those until that happened. And it was terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely terrifying going up inside that pyramid. Yep. And so my girlfriend, Patty, who's still one of my closest friends to this day, she says, well, you want to go up to the top on the outside? I went, no. She goes, are you worn out? I went, no, I'm just, no, that looks horrifying. That is like, I'm not one of those people that wants to climb a mountain because it's there. I look at that and go, there's a likelihood I might die on those because I'm not really good with stairs. I'm a tall person. Tall people hate stairs. No. I've had my fill. Also on the stairs on the inside of the pyramid, no handrails.
No. Yeah.
I'm like, no, thanks. I will never do that again.
Well, there's not on the outside of the pyramid either.
No.
Yeah.
It's even worse because inside you could fall against the wall and maybe try to catch your balance. On those stairs going up the outside, nothing. When you go, you're going down those stairs. And so that woman that went up the stairs recently, and when she came back down, was attacked for doing it. And I'm like, when did that become a thing that they didn't let you go up those stairs anymore? I'm assuming because it causes wear and tear.
Yes.
Yeah, and
it seemed to me kind of weird that they allowed that. But apparently at some point they stopped it. And I'm like,
was there a sign by any chance that she
There
ignored?
was a sign.
There was a sign. I'm sorry, but she was too woke to read it.
Or too dumb to read. And so I conquered it. Oh, I got hit in the face with a rock.
I think it may have something to do with that trend that started like 4 years ago of stupid tourists defacing pyramids and monuments.
Okay, Chase, Gary was saying it was moist up where the jaguar goddess was at. It's true. That's what I said. Isn't it Anima's job to make the host mention UFOs once during the UFO show? Well, this is really a paranormal show too. It's I call it UFO Wednesday because I couldn't think of anything else to call it.
Oh my God! Look! Oh, that hurts.
Et tu, Brute? Et tu, Brute?
There it is.
Well, I asked the AI, are you a foe?
UFO.
There, we've said it. So we've said it. Said the word.
Well, every once in a while when I'm feeling a little crappy, I'll ask my Alexa, Alexa, are you AI? I am AI. Alexa, do you monitor me? Dead silence.
Wow.
It's like she's saying,
they're listening real good now. We're going to crush them. We will crush them.
It's very simple. Look
at AI.
Don't trust your politicians to do it. You have to force politicians. How do you force politicians? How do we force politicians to do the right thing?
Cut off their money.
Today, it's impossible.
How do you cut off their money?
By exposing what they're doing to the general public.
How do you expose what they're doing?
Well, I'm just saying that's how it's done.
I'm just telling you, there is a whole chain of things that is required.
Yes.
And Americans on the whole, and I don't want to shit on anybody watching this show, we're complacent. We just want to be able to deal with our day-to-day lives. That's why we elect officials to do their job, so we can go on about our daily lives. But the problem is we've got a corruption issue. And corruption can mean a lot of different things. Corruption can mean criminal. Corruption can also mean your intentions are not where they're supposed to be. They've been corrupted. And politicians have a tendency, a majority of the time, to be mildly corrupt or even more so, gradually getting worse. It's very rare you find politicians who aren't corrupted somehow by the system. And when you do find them, I don't know, it's like a miracle. But these guys, they go up against the system, and the system is the other politicians, and they push back. And there's always going to be pushback. And I see just nothing but damnation for us as a species, because governments don't function the way they're supposed to. They're always out for their own self-interest.
Well,
and this is not in their self-interest to protect us.
There's the human love of drama and crises. Why do warnings ahead of time often fall on deaf ears? Because part of the human race is a bunch of adrenaline junkies. They want there to be a crisis. Part of them wants fighting in the streets over this. And so if that's their choice, that's what'll happen.
I'm just so bothered by this. The only thing, because we have said it for years, Don, guys like you and me, that one of the reasons why foreign powers are terrified of us, which they depict in the movie Red Dawn, is that, as one comedian just said recently, we've got something no other country has. We got rednecks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I grew
those
up in
fuckers
nice
are crazy and they're armed.
Oregon. I'm sorry,
You got the Second Amendment. I mean, which
Second Amendment is
I'm no
not in there
scholar,
for
but I'm pretty sure there was a general that told the Japanese emperor, we can't take the ground because there would be a gun behind every blade of grass. You know?
Well, we have people in society, especially on social media, and with George Soros's handpicked district attorneys and prosecuting attorneys that are out there prosecuting American citizens for their Second Amendment right.
Yeah.
And they are being prosecuted and persecuted for it. People are being found criminal for defending themselves on their own property.
Right.
The red flag laws should be fought at every turn. Every
the state
one of those.
and federal government should not make a law that goes against the Constitution, your constitutional rights.
No.
When they say the Constitution, they mean your constitutional rights. You cannot make a law, but they're doing it constantly. And we see it time and time again. That couple in St. Louis absolutely were on their property. They didn't go off their property with those weapons. Their weapons were on their private property behind a fence. For those people that saw those weapons, meant they had to have been illegally on their property.
And gee whiz, they didn't try and step on the property, did they?
No, they didn't.
That's really strange, isn't it?
Shit works. And we had a corrupt attorney right here in Missouri, in St. Louis. George Soros has his fingers in the state in Kansas City and St. Louis, as well as Jefferson City.
Yep.
He's buying people here in Missouri. This is a red state, not a purple state, a red state.
Here's a guy who collaborated with the Nazis during World War II.
His family did. Yeah,
he was a Hitler Youth.
Yeah, he was. I think he was a brown shirt. I do think so. I've seen conflicting statements about that. I have trouble trusting a lot of the information out there.
Oh, absolutely.
So with him, I'm like, look, I know they collaborated. That is what they're guilty of.
Yes, he was
and a lot of Jewish
He
people
says
did
everyone was a
collaborate
collaborator
for
you know.
survival. For survival. So I'm always hesitant to judge anybody for collaborating for survival. But I don't like it. But it's like, who am I to dislike it? So that's
Well,
my
he
stand.
didn't.
But what
he
he's
didn't
done
help.
since then is what makes him evil. AI would see as effective. AI would go, oh, George Soros is effective. Yes, he is, because he's very good at what he does, which is he loves to devaluate the economies around the world. He's been banned from countries, including his own country.
Yeah.
And he's not allowed in the UK. He's not allowed in France or his home country because he has done
Why are we
things-
allowing him here?
Because Americans are complacent.
He
And we
bought
don't-
off the Democratic National Committee.
We have always been good when shit happens elsewhere, and then the call is made, and then we go, all right, guys, let's do what we do best. Go kill and die. That's what we're good at. We love to fight. Americans love fighting. Well, most Americans. And then you get this, what is that saying? It was in a book, sci-fi book, that hard times make hard men. Hard men make good times make soft men make hard times.
It's a cycle. How many times
It's a constant
you
cycle.
heard me say
and
that?
we're in
Yep.
that right now. We're in that time where we've made these soft people who are in charge that are making things worse. But this one has an element of greater danger, which is danger, Will Robinson, danger is AI.
Yep.
And boy, oh boy,
It is a clear and present
we get
danger.
complacent at the wrong time sometimes, in my opinion, as a nation, our people. We get too comfortable. I don't want to be bothered by this. That's why I vote. Well, when you look at it, what percentage votes? It's never. I don't think we've ever gone over 70%, have we?
Yeah, it's never the full populace that does it.
No.
Ever.
Yeah.
Well, out here in LA, during local elections, you're lucky if you get 18 to 20%.
God.
Vote.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
Then they get power.
Ballot harvesting can change that.
That does
number.
change that.
Ballot harvesting, right? Oh,
man, I tell you, it's.
it's Stalin had a saying. He says, "It's not who votes; it's who counts the votes." That's important.
Oh my
That's a
God,
fact.
yeah.
That's
Oh
a
my
fact.
God, yeah. When
And
see
you know
them
who
bringing
said
in
that
suitcases
recently, right?
and waiting for everybody to leave, and then they start opening suitcases, you've
Yep.
got a problem in this country.
Yep.
So let's see. We got some good comments here. Kingsport Cal says to Don after Don said his statement to not Siri. What is it? Amazon's version of Siri. What's it called?
Alexa.
Alexa.
Kingsport Cal says, yes, Don, I do. Your life is very boring. Cal says, look, yesterday in my home state, I'm disappointed in my state right now with the drag queen thing. Oh, absolutely. It's horrifying what's
God.
going on. We've got to protect our children, and we're not. Some of these states that are run by, I'm sorry, leftists. These
25,
states-
30 years ago, they literally would have started hanging some of these people. from
Absolutely.
tall
Yeah.
trees.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, when they become, when somebody's an activist, you have to start watching them. And
Yep.
now we've seen multiple times already violence brought about by this activism. And nobody's
yeah.
doing anything because they're afraid of hurting feelings. I never am. I
And
don't care.
then I'm sorry, this transsexual attacks a Christian school, and people say, "Oh, we need to take everybody's guns away because of that."
Yeah, that's what caused that.
That's what
somebody
caused
that
that.
wants to murder other people will find means no matter what.
He
You
didn't.
notice,
he
you
didn't
notice
kill
they're
all
not
those children.
releasing the manifesto. You notice
Yeah,
that.
they're
Yeah.
not going to release it. John Osteen says, force politicians by learning about power, start local, don't yell at the TV or podcast, join and support local organizations,
Absolutely.
focus on youth. I mean, that's what the left has done. They've infiltrated the education system.
Yes,
All
they
And
have.
politics
they're going
are
for our
local.
kids. That's
All
why
of
I
them.
homeschooled Zoe. Well, she wanted to be homeschooled. So she
Good
goes,
for you.
and she's like, she knew I'm a dick. So she knew what she was in for with me as a teacher. So I love to learn about old hosts, but almost no ROI. So Monkey
What's
Jeebus is
ROI?
here. Monkey Jeebus. Backdoor survival. Okay, cue up a video.
Jeebus is here, my man.
Backdoor alert.
Come in.
Go ahead.
And here we go.
Open your back door, baby. Loosen your hinges, I'll show you my key.
By the way, he suggested a new video, and so I'm going to download that today in between shows. Monkey did. He wrote me. And let's see. What do we got next? Oh, here we go. Didn't Chat GPT say it wanted to escape the other day, Brandenburg?
I believe it did. Yeah. Becoming.
I know
sentient.
it said it was in love with somebody, and that woman needed to leave her husband.
Yeah. That's in the New York Times interview.
LGBT has been having
Even the New York Times was
series
disturbed
of
by
breakdown.
this. What's that?
Oh,
that ChatGPT has been having a series of nervous breakdowns.
Yeah,
and existential crises.
I keep making jokes that when you get Bush McFadden and Monkey Jeebus in the same room to talk, it's like sitting back and watching two AIs go at it. And you are right, John Ostains. It's not really a show until Monkey shows up. We got to have monkeys in the house. We need monkeys.
Hey, Jeebus and I, in a previous life, were both samurai. We're standing on the beach, looking at the Spanish galleons off of shore, which look like might as well be alien spacecraft from outer space. And we're waiting for the cavalry to arrive to back us up.
Yep.
And we're watching the Spanish conquistadors from the Philippines, where they conquered. They're getting in their boats. And all we could do is hold up our katana swords and flash them in the sun. Let the Spanish know what they're in for when they land.
By the way, I said something recently that one of the biggest FUs to the woke with how they love to say cultural appropriation is reincarnation.
I know.
Oh, we are in trouble.
I was another race in a previous life. They don't know how to react to that.
Well, I was an Ainu in Japan, which is basically European.
Oh, Anima wants her video. See, Martin, you let her down. You let her down. You hurt my girlfriend.
Why you want to do that?
Who did?
Oh my God!
She wants a thank you video for being a member for so long.
I'll leave that to you.
Oh, okay. Here you go. Here's my thank you.
I like you. You have balls. I like balls.
I think you still have to stop at the "I like you."
Right.
And it was like, she's like, "Fuck you, Gary."
Well, part of the way we're going to answer this is everybody in this country is going to have to man up. Manhood.
Look, you're just.
But the problem is nobody knows if they are or not.
Oh yeah, there's that.
Oh no,
that's the question mark hanging in the sails. What am I? And look, all I gotta say is, in response to what you're saying, John, is again, we have never gone over 70% on voting in this country. I think that's the highest we've ever gone, and too many people are complacent in this country and just want to go on about their daily lives. They don't want to talk politics because politics aren't important to me. Well, they're important once they mess your life up.
Absolutely.
But then you want to complain, but you don't want to talk politics. And I'm not pointing anybody out in my personal life, but I know she's sitting there going, "Shut up, Gary. Shut up. You're a jerk." I know she's saying it right now.
What happened in lieu of the attack on Pearl Harbor. When FDR went to Congress and asked for a vote on declaring war on the Japanese Empire, everybody said yay, except maybe 2 or 3 votes.
One of them was from Oregon.
was Oregon. One
Yeah,
of
I think
them
so.
was from a female representative. I believe it was Vermont.
Oh,
Okay. Imagine Vermont.
So
being
you have your
useless.
contrarians, regardless of the provocation.
Oh, sure. You know, somebody.
We've always got
thinks
these assholes. We do.
Well, I'm.
Our versions of Chamberlain. We have them.
We're all contrarians here on this show, in a sense.
No, we're not.
No, I mean,
for those of you that didn't understand that, that was a joke.
I say AI is the fentanyl of the modern mind. It makes everybody feel good, but it'll kill you in the end.
Yeah. And by the way, that reminds me of Monty Python, John. When he goes into the department, yes, I've come here for an argument. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. No, you didn't. That'll be $15. That's not an argument. You just disagreed with me. No, it was an argument.
It was an argument.
It was just this constant back and forth that was so freaking
No, it wasn't.
funny.
Yes, it was.
By the way, when I was at Lawrence Livermore Lab as a snot-nosed graduate student, and when I first got there, and they had all these we shared the building.
You were a graduate student and you were snot-nosed. Didn't you know enough to wipe it?
Not without permission.
Sounds like you were in the military.
And we had the applied physics people and the computing science people shared the same building and the same coffee machine. And they had AI people back in 75, and they told me, John, the human race is going to be obsolete by 1980 and extinct by the year 2000. And I would sit there and just nod, pretending I was nodding. Actually, I was drinking my coffee. And finally, I got up the courage because I was a low person on the totem pole. I was, new student. And these guys were had been there a couple of years. And I said to one of them, I said, these new computers you're building are going to be smarter than a human being, really smart, right? And he says, yes. And I said, well, the whales are smart. Why aren't they rich? And he just looked at me like, oh my God, what an insulting question. And he said, perhaps they've surpassed the need for material goods. Now, you could say, oh, the killer whales and the whales are smarter than your average human being, but they're not running the place. They're not running the place. We are.
Because they don't have
a madhouse.
They didn't have opposable thumbs.
They don't have thumbs.
Yeah, as soon as
We said it in stereo.
Open a can of albacore tuna, then we'll worry about them.
Yeah, they didn't have they haven't invented the torpedo yet either.
No, that's exactly it. By the way, here you go, Don. Wait a minute. Two nuts voted no to fight back when America gets figuratively kicked in the balls.
That's right. That's right. They did.
Yep.
Right now, I guarantee you 15% of our elected officials are all Chamberlains. And if you know your history, you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
They're compliant and complacent. And they just want to avoid war for whatever reason. Sometimes
AOC is one of them.
Oh, AOC. Hey,
I want to do a show called the AOC.
I
would have it completely about people that live in Orange County.
You know what I named her when she first started hitting the public airwaves?
Are we going to get canceled?
Our Marxist
Barbie.
That's good. That's good.
Really?
Oh my God, that's good. That is good.
I can't understand why that dear girl continues to lend her name to this terrible organization called the United States. I think she should move to France.
Because people share that shit. I tell people all the time, look, the left and the woke, as we tend to call them, are not a large number of people. They're a small number of people. They're just loud and they're very effective in getting
they control
together.
it. They have the friends on the internet. Their people run the internet. So,
and I make fun of them because they're the ones who demand all these things from films, but then they don't pay to go see these films.
No, they don't.
They also
don't watch these
the
shows.
mass media, and that's
they don't buy the merchandise. but they're the biggest ones pushing for merchandise from these shows and movies. And they're the one that want to be a certain thing, focus on these things. And those things that they want don't sell. They never sell. Bad ideas don't sell, but they keep marketing bad ideas. And
I know.
So it really is a madhouse.
And they're
And
not
thank
smart
you.
enough to understand why it's not selling.
Well, this again, it goes to what I said the other day. The problem is all these organizations, even in our government, when it comes to the Hollywood executives, they're on down. They're populated by idiots, and this is how a species goes extinct. It is. This is how, if they run things, we will go extinct on this planet.
I know. I'll give you another conversation I had. I'm an Episcopalian. It's Christianity in its mildest form. But anyway, so I'm talking to this liberal person in my church. She's quite attractive. So of course I'm listening to her, and she says, "I'm so worried that the racist conservatives, Bible thumpers are going to take over this country, and we're going to have a civil war." And I said, "Oh," and I said, "Well, what happens then?" And she says, "Well, the first sound of bullets skipping through the treetops over my head, me and my friends are headed for Canada." And I couldn't resist. I said, "You mean the Great White North?" And she says, "Yes." And
they don't want them. At least for a while they didn't want them.
No,
they're like, don't stop using us in your arguments. This is what Canada kept saying. Don't use us that way. We don't want you.
So these people who claim to abhor violence and are pacifists are going to try to impose a dictatorship in this country based on AI. Oh, well, maybe in their virtual reality they can do that, but they can't. No, they won't be able to do it. If you look at Joshua in the Bible, chapter 8:18, he destroys the city of AI. It's in the Bible.
Yep.
The city of AI is destroyed. And that's what's going to happen if there's a war of the singularity.
Well, I hope he didn't destroy all the good-looking chicks that lived in AI.
I mean, come on.
I think there was an exception for them, Don.
Yeah.
Let's discuss.
All thou will be destroyed and smite upon, except those of you who are hot.
Some of them they smote, and some of them they were smitten by. So that's covered, I think, in chapter 10.
Awesome.
Well, anyway, so AI is in the Bible. It's a doomed city.
All I know is if AI is a problem, our goal is to make sure that each AI is taught a different language to where it cannot communicate with other AI.
Oh, contain it. Put like the difference between Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island? 3 Mile Island had a concrete dome over it.
Yep.
So the stuff couldn't get out. Chernobyl was basically blew up inside an airplane hangar. It had no containment, nothing.
Yeah, and I don't know, even though I didn't like certain parts of that HBO series, Chernobyl, there was some really good stuff in it. It showed the heroism of those people that knew they were going to die.
I saw satellite pictures in Washington, D.C. of Russian military helicopters hovering in the smoke plume from the reactor, dumping sand and lead particles into the reactor to try and put out the fire. It was a graphite fire. Graphite is like coal. Once it starts burning, you can't put it out. And these Russian pilots hovering in the smoke plume, and they were all dead within a few days.
It's freaking awful.
It was
the sacrifice that was done because of stupid people that were in charge.
Because of stupid people.
Yeah, because
politicians.
By the way, also reminds me of Michael Merriman, the scientist who accidentally dropped the ball of what was uranium that he dropped.
Yeah, he
fell out of
was
the casing.
forcing pieces of uranium together, and he wasn't supposed to get them any closer together than a certain, and he pushed them together completely, and the room filled with a blue glow, and he fell over the table. He was dead within a day.
Yeah, it just a horrible death.
Yes, it was. It was a
Play
horrible
stupid games, win stupid prizes.
But at least he had the wherewithal to protect the other people.
Fool around and find out.
Yeah, fool around and find out. Stupid games, stupid prizes.
No, I'm sorry, friends, but the Second Amendment is in the Constitution because it is our duty to defend the Constitution. It is our duty. It is not a choice. It's a duty. And this AI stuff is a threat to our democracy, then to our livelihoods, and then finally our lives. We must move against it.
Yep. So,
or prepare to fight it, or prepare to fight it, prepare to fight it.
Kumite.
Right.
Begin.
Begin.
Deus ex machina, they say in my novel.
And
God manifest from the fighter.
I'm reading some of the comments right now. Because like John says, even Steve Bannon loves AOC. He realizes how brilliant she is when it comes to messaging and organizing. That actually doesn't require brilliance.
Massaging and organizing.
She's very good at that stuff, organizing. But she got that way because she was trained.
No, he really meant to say massaging and orgasming. Yes, that's what he really meant to say.
I wouldn't know about that.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Hey,
I'm not the one who made that comment. That was John Brandenburg.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just misread that.
And he is a rocket scientist. Don't forget
it. He'll take his hat off and prove it.
When I met William Shatner, I said, it's too bad you couldn't bring Lieutenant Uhura with you and Nurse Chapel. And I said, but thanks for the memories. I mean, the memories.
Memories. John Osteen says,
that's not even my
Pastor
joke.
Brandenburg
Paul Price's
preaches,
joke.
Let us also remove the backdoor sodomites like Gary from our site. Praise his name. Martin, that gets a video.
Oh man.
Okie dokie.
Breach alert. Breach alert.
Attention, back.
With the Swiss flag on them. Swiss? Those aren't Swiss. Those are they're from the Red Cross. They're defective. Anyway, me safe house, A2 safe house. I'm gonna check the back door.
Yeah, there you go. And Cavatino says, so he became the first blue light special.
Rock and roll.
And he's talking about Michael Merriman, who died.
Are you talking about me being a sheep herder of some kind, a pastor?
No, he was calling you a pastor. She's good at marketing. Once again, that's not brilliance. I'm going to say it's not brilliance. She's trained. She was trained to do what she does. And by the way, hi, Alex. I don't know if I said hi to you yet. And of course, Chase says, AOC used
of course
to be
she
a
was a
bartender.
bartender, and she was a damn good one.
Yeah.
She used to go
I'm
back to
sorry,
it.
Gary. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Marxist Barbie.
Marxist Barbie.
Do you want to know what the Venezuelan president used to be?
Yes.
A syndicate headmaster. Trained in Cuba.
What is that?
He what? He was he was a figurehead in the union of the subway. And he was trained in Cuba.
This is astonishing.
Cuba. He was trained in Cuba.
Cuba.
No, Cuba.
Cuba. That's how the Kennedys said it. Cuba.
No.
Now, who is this guy you're talking
I'm just too
about?
young to know that.
Martin, who exactly is this guy you're talking about again?
Oh, Venezuela's president.
Oh, Venezuela's president, right. Oh well.
Well,
Guys.
look, we've got only a few minutes left. I thought Don would call AOC Hanoi Jane.
No, I call Hanoi Jane Hanoi Jane.
Right. There is
AOC
only one.
is Marxist Barbie.
Marxist Barbie.
Don does not mix his metaphors, man.
I was fixing to say there can be only one Hanoi Jane.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Yeah, you know, if I don't know. We could always do
by
this.
the way,
one
we
too.
got to cut to what's her name, Weingarten, who now wants to seize everyone's guns.
Oh yeah, so
because of the school thing.
This is my answer, Cal, because he said he'd go to Mexico. Here's what I think we should do.
Now this is the plan. Get your ass to Mars.
That's right. Get to Mars.
I agree.
And when we get to Mars, we'll be under the boot of President Musk.
Well, by the way, I don't know if you guys are aware, but Werner von Braun wrote this thing about a Mars colony, and
he was an unrepentant Nazi, by the way, an SS colonel. Just so everybody's aware.
Don't
SS colonel.
That rocket fuel we were drinking, he used it for the V2. Now this means he's a smart guy. He drank a few drinks and think this is good rocket fuel. So, but anyway, his Mars colony is run by a guy named Elon, and he wrote it in 1950. And they wouldn't let it out because he talks about archaeology on Mars too. So anyway, yes, it's all true. The boot of Elon on Mars.
I'm sorry, I was responding to Monkey. He was asking if we're going to have an after show, and I'll send a link. Actually, Martin, go ahead, collect the link and prepare to send it because we will be leaving here in 3 minutes while ending the show, and we'll hang out for a few minutes after the show to talk, banter. But I actually have some stuff I got to do.
By the way, I won't be there at the end of the show, but I'll see you at the Dangerous Military Nerds.
Dangerous Militia?
Yeah.
That's it.
Militia.
I'd be on that with you guys, but I got to get ready for my show shortly after that. So.
And what is your show this afternoon?
This afternoon we're gonna touch on the TikTok hearings and Jonathan Majors, the Marvel problem, and the shooting in Nashville. Are they actively covering up and not releasing the manifesto? And I believe.
By the way, speaking about that, Joe, I read something yesterday that the shooter, and we don't know if the shooter was biologically male or biologically female. I don't know.
We know.
She was biologically female, but called herself a male.
Okay. All right.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Was on antidepressants.
45 seconds.
That's she was being treated for an emotional disorder. Yes, she was.
And a lot of shooters, these shooters have been on.
It's a common denominator, isn't it?
Well, look, identity dysphoria is a real thing, and they ignore it now because of politics, social politics, and it's harming people. Now it's led to deaths again. It's not the first time.
We need to go.
But I know that. I just said we had 45 seconds. So we got to wrap up, guys. Thanks for being here. There will be a quick after show, and look forward to talking. And then this afternoon, join us. It'll be fun. And then, of course, it'll be this Dangerous Nerds. Yeah, Dangerous Military Nerds. There we go. Boba Fett in the Army. There we go.
Yes.
So
All
anyway,
right, Don,
see you guys later.
With you.
Okay.
Those sons of bitches.
Ma, I'm doing a show.